2004. The Tennessee football season was a season of two surprises, only to be marked by a cruel dose of reality. The team leaders set aim. Unknown names became household, and there was a fresh outlook on the banks of the Tennessee River. Philip Fulmer's squad kept finding ways to bring home victories, but most of all, a team was formed by 9 wins, 2 losses, key injuries, some heroes. It was a season full of hope, with one goal: to win an SEC championship. On September 5th, in front of the third largest crowd to see a game at Neyland Stadium, the Tennessee Volunteers honored the past by welcoming back former Letterman and wearing the Bill Battle-inspired uniforms from the early 1970s. Though the weekend had a turn-back-the-clock feel, the crowd was abuzz about a pair of 18-year-olds who were running through the tee for the first time. True freshman quarterbacks Brent Schaefer and Eric Ainge took center stage, as Schaefer became the first true QB to start for an SEC team since 1945.
Welcome to the 2004 football season. The Rebels approach the football, and it's football time in Tennessee.
On just the second series of the game, the Florida native showed the 108,000 on hand that the future was now.
Schaefer operates out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 8. Here's the blitz. Schaefer, quarterback draw to the 15. Schaefer to the 10, and he's knocked down as he gets to the 6-yard line. Wow, can he motor?
With those 14 yards, the ice was broken and Schaefer was in command. The Vols then faced a 3rd and goal situation, and Schaefer did his best to honor the past by making all that were watching think back to the original number 7 wearing the Tennessee two-tone jersey, Condridge Holloway.
Schaefer under center, waits for the snap, gets it, hands off, tailback. No, he keeps it, rolls right. Schaefer looking for the end zone. He gets there, makes a nice cut. He made 3. Rebels miss him as he cut back to the inside and dances into the checkerboard for his first touchdown as a Tennessee Volunteers. First, a brilliant fake, and then he rolls right. He left 3 Rebels in their tracks.
First time anybody's going to compare him to Condridge Holloway, but it really did look like old number 7.
The Vols went up 7-3, and then it was Eric Ainge's turn to continue the freshman showcase. The 6'6" Oregon native had a different approach for leading the Vol offense into the checkerboard end zone.
Ainge now back under center, waits for the snap, gets it. 3-step drop, fires long down the near sideline. The pass complete at the 20-yard line to C.J. Phaeton. Touchdown, Tennessee, as Phaeton takes it all the way to the checkerboard. Ainge checks off. Phaeton runs the fly down the near sideline. Ainge just lobs it out there. Phaeton catches in stride and goes in for a Tennessee touchdown. So both freshman quarterbacks get Tennessee into the end zone. Schaefer runs one in, and Eric Ainge throws one to C.J. Phaeton.
The offensive attack did not stop there, as Gerald Riggs Jr. asserted the Tennessee ground game and added 6 more points from 3 yards out, giving the Vols a 21-3 halftime lead. But Schaefer would waste little time in the second half, getting the Volunteers on the scoreboard once again.
Schaefer waits for the snap. He'll roll right. The lefty turns his body, looking to uncork it. He does. Fires down the sideline, complete to the 40, and out of bounds to the 45-yard line, Tony Brown. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Handoff, tailback, Riggs breaks a tackle, goes down the right sideline and rolled out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 at the 35. Schaefer fires left sideline. Perfect throw. Down to the 5. Checkerboards. Touchdown to Robert Meacham. Meacham caught it right in stride behind the cornerback, and Tennessee has another touchdown. It's 27-3.
The 35-yard touchdown catch gave redshirt freshman Robert Meacham his first Tennessee touchdown, and more importantly proved that Schaefer could get the job done with his arm as well as his legs. Not to be outdone, Ainge answered right back with an impressive 13-play, 82-yard drive that culminated with a 3-yard touchdown pass from Ainge to senior captain Tony Brown.
3rd down and goal from the 3. Ainge, quick step, fires for the end zone. The lob pass, perfectly thrown. Touchdown, Tennessee, to Tony Brown. Ainge through that ball for the left hash mark into the right corner of the end zone. He couldn't have laid it out there any better. Tony Brown right in stride. Perfect throw. Another touchdown for Eric Ainge, and Tennessee leads it 34-10. What a drive.
Senior tailback Corey Larkins capped off an impressive offensive showing with a 23-yard touchdown scamper in the fourth quarter. The Vols rolled up 513 yards of total offense en route to the 42-17 victory. Brent Schaefer finished the night completing 7 of 10 passes for 123 yards and accounting for 2 touchdowns. Ainge ended with 118 yards and 2 touchdowns while completing 10 of 17 throws. Not bad for a couple of guys just months removed from their senior prom. Now all that awaited them was the start of the SEC season and the Florida Gators. Every year, the early matchup between Tennessee and the Florida Gators is a tempo setter for the season. When these two programs collide, much is at stake. Normally, the winner will represent the SEC East come early December in Atlanta. The game has also provided much excitement in recent years. Recruits across America come to Tennessee to become football players. But have a big day in the Florida game, and you can become a legend. Like in '98 when Deion Grant had an amazing one-handed pick across the middle, which has been called the biggest play in that memorable year. Or how about Travis Stevens' 226 rushing yards in 2001 to give the Vols their first win in Florida in more than 30 years and secure a ticket to the SEC championship game? The game has come down to inches or by the mere judgment of an official. And then the foot of a kicker has written history in this Volunteer Gator series.
The game. Snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir-ree. No, sir-ree. Final score, Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Nothing less was expected in 2004. The largest crowd in Tennessee history was on hand. 109,000 filled Neyland Stadium to watch what would become a classic.
Now the T forms and opens, and ladies and gentlemen, here come the Tennessee Volunteers.
A fumble would give the ball to Florida early in the first quarter, and they would capitalize on it going ahead first. 7-0 on a 5-yard strike from Chris Leak to O.J. Small. The Tennessee offense wouldn't hang their heads. The Vols would march down the field 80 yards behind the efforts of a determined offensive line and a rejuvenated running game.
Schaefer under center, gets the snap, hands to Davis, dives under the checkerboards. Over right guard, touchdown Tennessee.
With the score tied, it was the Gators' turn. Chris Leak had his team moving down the field when Tennessee's safety, Jason Allen, intercepted the sophomore's deep ball.
Blitz. Here's the snap. Leak back to throw, looking, firing long left sideline. The pass is going to be intercepted down at the 20-yard line. Jason Allen. Allen makes the play, running stride for stride with a wideout, Andre Caldwell. And Allen makes a big play, timed it perfectly, and made the interception down at the 20-yard line.
Jason Allen finished the night with 14 tackles and a sack to go along with that interception. Eric Ainge then made his entrance and took the Vols down the field. On play number 7 of the drive, the freshman QB would get a chance to show his versatility and his arm strength.
Man in motion, Tinsley across the formation, right to left, handoff. Nope, Ainge fakes it, rolls out left, fires, it's going to be complete, down to the end zone, touchdown, Justin Reed! Reed, the tight end, comes across to the corner, the far side, makes the catch, and the Florida native right at the pylon. Somersaults in for his first catch, his first touchdown.
Tennessee would get their first lead of the night, 14-7, but that wouldn't last long. The Gators would tie the game back up at 14 when Chris Leak found Jamal Cornelius on a 9-yard pass, completing a 97-yard drive. The momentum would continue after an Ainge interception. Florida's Deshaun Wynn would score from 1 yard out, giving the Gators the lead going into the half, 21-14. Both defenses would settle down in the second half. The anchor for the Vols was senior linebacker Kevin Burnett, who had 16 tackles for the game. Defensive tackle Jesse Mahalona would come up with a big sack as the Vols were starting to slow Leak and Florida's offense down. Tennessee would have some luck come their way in the third quarter when Florida's Matt Leach would line up for a 21-yard field goal attempt.
This is just basically an extra point from the left hash mark. Snap down, kick is on the way, and the kick is... He missed it! Leach misses!
The Volunteers would start a drive on the 20 that would test Eric Ainge's playmaking ability, along with giving Coach Philip Fulmer a decision on a 4th and 1.
4th and an inch. Ainge gets under Jason Resper. Gets the snap, powers ahead. I don't know. They're going to give him a good mark, though. They're going to mark it just over the 30. He needed an inch. He got about 5 inches.
That first down gave the Vols all the confidence they would need. The Big Orange offense proceeded to carve up the Gator defense, running it, passing it, running it. Then the Tennessee QB delivered a pass right on the money.
3 wideouts to the right. He rolls right. Looking, still on the move, firing the ball for the end zone. It's going to be complete for a Tennessee touchdown. Complete to Brett Smith. Ainge rolling right, throw a bullet down the sideline. Smith caught it right at the pylon. A Gator defensive back went flying in front, but couldn't get there in time. Brett Smith gets the touchdown, and Tennessee is pulled within 1.
So with the game knotted back up at 21, fans on both sides waited to see which team was going to strike next. That answer would be in the form of an 81-yard pass to Florida's Chad Jackson. The ball made it into the hands of Jackson right after Tennessee's Brandon Johnson tipped it. One step too late. Gators 28, Tennessee 21. In the fourth quarter, Philip Fulmer stayed with the hot hand in quarterback Eric Ainge, and with 7:42 left in the game, Tennessee found themselves in a must-score situation.
Florida's 6-man front. Here they come. Ainge sets up the screen. He's got to play. They throw the ball to the right side. It's complete to Chris Hannon, and Hannon's got a first down out to midfield.
On 3rd and 6, Ainge's pass fell incomplete to Derek Tinsley, and the Vols would be faced with a long 6 yards for the first down. Fulmer didn't hesitate and kept his offense on the field.
Ainge out of the shotgun. 2 to the left, 1 to the right as wide receivers. Waits for the snap, gets it, back to throw. Ainge has some time. Ainge fires the ball long. It's complete. Down to the 20-yard line to Tony Brown. Brown knocked out at the 15. What a big-time throw by the freshman. Right on target to Tony Brown, and Tennessee has a first down at the 15-yard line.
It was a welcomed 24 more yards than needed. 2 plays later, on 3rd and 8, Ainge needed one of those talented receivers to step up again. Jason Swain volunteered.
On 3rd down and a long 7, Ainge gets the snap. Looks, fires the slant pattern, complete. Jason Swain breaks a tackle to the 5. He's close to the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee! Jason Swain coming across the middle, caught the pass, and then made a beeline for the end zone. He was hit, just barely made it to the goal line, and Tennessee scores.
Swain's plunge into pay dirt made the score 28-27. All the Vols needed was the extra point to tie.
His 3rd touchdown of the night. Wilhoit on to try the extra point.
He missed it.
And he missed it to the right. James Wilhoit has missed the extra point.
The Big Orange Nation was in shock. Wilhoit had hit 50 consecutive extra points until the ball went wide right. The chill of the mid-September air was felt throughout the crowd. Another cruel lesson that nothing is a given in athletics. With 3:25 left in regulation, Florida would be in control of the game, and all they had to do was run the clock out. The Gators got a first down on 2 plays, and with 2 minutes and 2 seconds on the clock, called a timeout, and they continued to count on their ground game to keep the clock running.
Leak under center, Tennessee, 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Handoff up the middle, nothing for Wynn. He'll be short. It'll be 4th down, and Tennessee's going to get the ball back.
Harris Harrelson and Kevin Burnett's stop for no gain was just what the Vols needed. And with a personal foul called against Florida's Dallas Baker, the Gators had to punt on 4th and 18, giving the Vols and James Wilhoit new life. Eric Ainge would have just 43 seconds to get the Vols into scoring position, and on 2nd and 10, he got the big play.
2nd down and 10, the ball at the 39-yard line. Ainge gets the snap, back to throw, has some time, being pressured, gets away from one man, fires over the middle, that's complete to Hannon. Hannon gets down to the 40-yard line. 30 seconds to go. They'll stop the clock to move the chains. Tennessee's got to get about 10 more yards. 28-27 Gators. Tennessee 2nd down and 10 at the 40-yard line. You know the Gators want to come after Ainge. There's the snap. Here they come. Ainge, quick step, pass complete, down to the 32-yard line, but the clock runs. 23 seconds, 22 seconds. Tennessee trying to get to the line of scrimmage to stop it. This will be a 3rd down play. 15 seconds, 14. Ainge snaps it and then spikes it.
Ainge would end the night 16 of 24 with 192 yards and 3 touchdowns, but more importantly, got the field goal unit back on the field, and redemption was on the mind of James Wilhoit. His attempt would be a mere chip shot, just 50 yards out.
James Wilhoit to win it for the Volunteers. Waiting for the snap. Henderson to hold. There it is. Kick on the way. The kick is long and high and spinning. Good! Wilhoit! Wilhoit hits from 50 yards out, and Tennessee leads 30-28. He has redeemed himself in a large way. Wilhoit drills a 50-yard field goal, and Tennessee leads 30-28.
Has there ever been a GOAT to hero shot like that? He missed an extra point and made a 50-yarder. Incredible.
It was another classic Tennessee-Florida game, once again coming down to the wire and producing a cast of heroes that would be remembered for their efforts on that victorious night.
That was a hell of an effort. Careful, tough, way to go, team! Larry, Justin Reed! Justin Reed! Chris, don't miss it! How about James Wilhoit?
September 25th saw Neyland Stadium play host to the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. The Vols were hoping not to fall into a lull after that emotional win against the Florida Gators just 1 week prior. It was homecoming, a break in SEC action, and the Bulldogs were bringing a running game carried on the shoulders of Ryan Moats, one of the best running backs in the country. The ground attack would play a factor in this one, and to the delight of Vol fans. Both teams started the game having to punt on their first 2 possessions, and the lull that was expected began to poke out its eerie head. Louisiana Tech would manage to score a touchdown on a 33-yard pass when wide receiver Julius Cosby avoided the Tennessee secondary and ended a 97-yard drive. Eric Ainge would make his first appearance of the game. With Tech thinking about the QB's arm, they forgot about Cedric Houston's legs.
And he'll operate 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line. Hand off to his tailback, Cedric Houston, over right tackle. Houston still on his feet to the 40. Houston trying to outrun Louisiana Tech. They catch him, knock him out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Lee Johnson finally does that. Hole on the right side of the Tech defensive line. Another handoff up the middle to Houston, picking his way down to the 20, down to the 10, to the 5, to the checkerboard. Touchdown, Cedric Houston, as Tennessee comes back lickety-split.
The drive only took 2 plays, and the Vols had tied it up at 7. Houston was averaging 36.5 yards a carry. Louisiana Tech's weapon, Ryan Moats, would want to join in the fun of the run. He would pick up 37 yards in one play, getting the Bulldogs the lead once again. Tennessee's tailback Gerald Riggs Jr. would get the Vols on the comeback. A 19-yard run, 13 more here, and 15 more there would get the Vols to text 13. Eric Ainge would top off the drive with another one of his pinpoint passes.
Lunch package. Ainge rolls that way. Ainge fires for the end zone. The pass is going to be... Is he inbounds? Touchdown! He sure is! In the back of the end zone, C.J. Phaeton goes high for the catch. Somehow got a foot down as he was flying out of bounds in the back corner of the end zone.
Life was injected into the Big Orange after Phaeton's reception. Tennessee would show their muscle and start to take complete control. Freshman Eric Ainge would continue to electrify the nation, racking up passing yards and throwing touchdowns. His second delivery to the end zone came after hitting Brett Smith on a 60-yard pass. The Vols went up 21-14. Tennessee's linebacker Omar Gaither would be in the right place on a Tech 2nd and 10.
From the Tennessee 43-yard line. Kubik back to throw. Here's the blitz. Inside screen. Incomplete. Intercepted, was it? Yes, it was. They tried the screen, and somehow getting to the football was Omar Gaither.
Tennessee's offense would score off the Gaither interception. Cedric Houston would get the opportunity for his second touchdown of the night. 28-14 going into the second half, and the Vols would keep putting points on the board. Eric Ainge would find Brett Smith again on a 4-yard strike. It would be Ainge's third touchdown of the game, giving him 8 touchdowns in 3 games. He was impressive, finishing with 198 yards and completing 10 of 15 passes. The scoring would conclude after Brent Schaefer connected with wide receiver Robert Meacham down the sideline, giving the Vols the winning score 42-17. The homecoming win would prove to be a welcome return to a complete showing of dominance by the Tennessee running game. Gerald Riggs Jr. rushed for a career-high 116 yards, and Cedric Houston finished with 2 touchdowns and totaling 160 yards. This was the first time that Tennessee would have 2 backs rush for 100 yards each since 1994, when James Stewart and Jay Graham ran over the century mark. As a team, 347 rushing yards were totaled, giving the Vols a 3-0 start in the 2004 season.
There's a lot of individual efforts here. We always play as a team, okay, but some great things happen. Cedric Houston, Gerald Riggs. Cedric Houston had 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gerald Riggs, 116 yards.
Number 8 Tennessee would head back into SEC action the following week against the number 9 Auburn Tigers. The atmosphere was electric, but the Vols wouldn't be able to find a spark on that night. Auburn had everything going right and handed the Tennessee freshman quarterbacks a game to learn from. Tennessee would get on the board when James Wilhoit lined up for a 41-yard field goal.
Waiting for the snap. There it is. Wilhoit approaches, boots it high, long, and true, and Tennessee's on the board.
Tennessee's defensive back Rashawn Fellows would pick up an interception, and linebacker Jason Mitchell grabbed a highlight when he found his way into the backfield. In the fourth quarter, Tennessee would get a boost from Gerald Riggs Jr. after he picked up 26 yards on the ground, getting the Vols into scoring position, down to the Auburn 2-yard line.
Ainge floods it, throws the pass into the end zone, touchdown to Corey Anderson.
The Volunteers would fall 34-10 to Auburn in this top 10 contest, and the young quarterbacks wouldn't get a break. The next week, Tennessee would head to Georgia for their first road game of the year. A lot of unknowns surrounded the Tennessee camp going into Game 5 of the season. After the loss to Auburn, Philip Fulmer would have 1 week to prepare his squad to take on the number 3 ranked team in the nation, the Georgia Bulldogs. This would be a huge task for the Vols, to go on the road with freshman quarterbacks and beat a team who just 1 week earlier defeated the national champions LSU 45-16. Tennessee would be 12.5-point underdogs, with no one on the local or national media stage believing an upset was possible. Now, if you're a historian, then you know you can never count out a Volunteer on the road when the foreshadowing of victory looks bleak.
Glad you're with us wherever you're listening as Tennessee and Georgia get set to renew this rivalry. Waiting for the whistle. Everybody stands, and now, ladies and gentlemen, it's football time in Tennessee. The kick is a high spinner that Yancey will watch sail through the end zone, and Tennessee will take over 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line.
The Vols' game plan was obvious from the start. Make the statement that they came between the hedges to play.
Ainge operates out of the shotgun. Georgia four-man front. Ainge gets the snap, rolls right, looks, firing the ball long down the right sideline. Man wide open. Derek Tinsley's got it down to the 40-yard line. Somebody didn't pick up Derek Tinsley in the slot. Ainge rolls right, and Tinsley was 15 yards behind the Georgia secondary.
Eric Ainge looked like a poised veteran instead of a freshman in his first road game. This was evident on a 4th and 1 in Georgia territory.
4th and less than a yard from the Georgia 33-yard line, and Tennessee is going for it with 12 minutes to go, first quarter. Gerald Riggs down at tailback on 4th and 1 in an I formation. Ainge fakes the rig, dumps it in the flat to the fullback, Corey Anderson. Anderson's got it and rumbling out of bounds for a first down. Down inside the 25-yard line. They fake to the tailback, dumped it out to Corey Anderson. He picks up big yardage around right end, and Tennessee has the first down as Greg Blue knocks him out of bounds.
3 plays later, Ainge would hit Brett Smith to give the Vols the first score of the game.
This crowd just roaring now. Ainge under center on 3rd and 8. 3-step drop. Looks. Fires the ball for the end zone. The pass is going to be there. Touchdown. Back of the end zone. Brett Smith. Ainge just saw Smith rolling down the middle of the field. He just lobbed it up. Brett Smith caught it in the back of the end zone, right under the goalpost, and Tennessee scores on its opening drive. What a brilliant throw from Eric Ainge.
With the Vols up 7-0, Georgia's high-powered offense and Heisman hopeful David Green took center stage, but the Tennessee defense would make their own statement. 3 and out for the Bulldogs.
There's the snap. It's a good one, and Kelso gets it out of there. Hangs it high. Hefty's going to have a chance to return it. Catches his own 30. Looks for running room. Georgia back there in big hit. Knocks down Hefty. And so Tennessee will have it about at its own 30-yard line.
Gerald Riggs Jr. would help the Vols on their second possession, carrying the ball 5 times and picking up 31 yards on the ground. Those yards set up a James Wilhoit field goal attempt from 35 yards out.
Waiting for the snap. It's down, the kick on the way, and the kick is going to be right through the middle. And Tennessee has scored 10 first quarter points and leads Georgia by a score of 10-0 with 2:22 to go in the first quarter.
On the defensive side, the Vols kept the pressure coming. Defensive tackle Jesse Mahalona would hit Georgia's running back Danny Ware for a loss. Defensive end Jason Hall would then come up big on 2nd and 11.
Green, play action on 2nd and 11. In the backfield, he's hit and sacked. Dropped. Good pressure. Jason Hall drops David Green. Only the 5th time he's been sacked all year, but they get him back at the 4-yard line.
Georgia would get on the board in the second quarter when backup quarterback DJ Shockley unloaded a 24-yard pass to Fred Gibson. After the extra point, the Vols found themselves up by 3. The Tennessee defense would force Georgia to punt with less than 6 minutes left in the half, and the Vols would work from Georgia's 49-yard line. Tailback Cedric Houston would pick up a first down on a 3-yard run, and Ainge would hit wide receiver Tony Brown with a perfect pass between 2 Bulldog defenders. Wilhoit would come on for his 3rd attempt of the game.
His career-long 51. They're going to say this is a 51-yard kick. Snap is down. Kick on the way, spinning toward the goalpost. This kick is going to be good by James Wilhoit. A 51-yard field goal. And so Tennessee expands the lead to 13-7 with 2:59 to go here in the second quarter.
The Bulldogs would have a drive brewing in the last few minutes of the first half until David Green was hunted down by 300 pounds of Hawaiian punch.
3rd down 6. Tennessee leads 13-7. Green back to throw, play action, pressured. Being back, and he's sacked back at the 41-yard line. Jesse Mahalona gets back there.
The sack would force Georgia to punt at the end of the first half. Vols 13, Georgia 7.
Way to go. This is UT defense right here. Way to go, boys.
Mahalona would have an encore at the start of the third quarter. With Georgia driving down to Tennessee's 31-yard line, the junior transfer forced Green into an intentional grounding call and a 12-yard loss for his second sack on the night. The rest of the third quarter saw both teams miss field goals, and good defense held the offenses in check. Late in the quarter, Georgia went into the old bag of tricks to try and jumpstart their offense.
13-7, Volunteers lead, 3:01 to go in the third. Georgia a fake punt, and they're not going to make it. They snap it to the up back. Georgia goes for the fake punt, and they don't make it. And Kevin Burnett actually comes out of there with the ball, and Tennessee has stopped Georgia. The Bulldogs try trickery, and it doesn't work, and Tennessee gets the ball back.
John Poe's hit was just the momentum to get the offense going. Cedric Houston got the ball moving on a 7-yard run. Derek Tinsley would pick up a first down from Ainge. Then Gerald Riggs would carry the load on 3 runs of 9, 2, and 14 yards. Riggs would finish the night with 103 yards. The drive was still alive at the end of the third quarter, and with the score 13-7, Eric Ainge looked for some sure hands to extend the Tennessee lead.
Backs in the I formation. 2 tight ends. Ainge under center on 2nd and goal for the 4. Ainge rolls out right, looks, fires for the end zone, lobs it up there. The pass is going to be touchdown. Touchdown, Tennessee. Chris Hannon on the right corner of the end zone. Hannon, as Ainge was buying time, rolls out right. Ainge lost the pass. Hannon catches it right up against the far sideline, keeps his feet in bounds, and Tennessee scores.
Hannah's instincts allowed the Vols to go up 19-7 in the fourth quarter, and the talk of an upset was beginning to spread through the country. Georgia wouldn't go away so easy. After Tennessee missed its 3rd field goal of the night, the Bulldogs' Danny Ware would get the home team closer when he busted a 1-yard run for a score. Tennessee 19, Georgia 14. Georgia stopped Tennessee and forced them to punt. So with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in the game, Vol fans were starting to remember David Green's heroics 3 years prior when he drove Georgia down the field to beat Tennessee in less time than he had in 2004. Green got the Dogs moving, collecting 4 first downs and using their final timeout.
3rd down and 10 from the 40-yard line. Green back to throw. Green sets up, fires the pass. It's complete. Complete to Fred Gibson. Gibson breaks a tackle down to the 20. Gibson's going to be knocked out of bounds with 1 second to go on the clock. 1 second left is what they say. Fred Gibson made the catch, tried to break a tackle, and he almost ran the clock out. He gets down inside the Tennessee 20-yard line. Georgia will have 1 snap left with 1 second on the clock. 1st and 10, Georgia. Tennessee leads 19-14. The ball at the 18-yard line. Green's got to throw for the end zone with 1 second left to go. Gets the snap. Green back to throw. Pressured. Fires for the end zone. The pass is knocked away. Intercepted. The game is over. Tennessee has won. Tennessee has defeated the Georgia Bulldogs. And the Volunteers win 19-14 between the hedges. The 4-game losing streak to Georgia is over. Tennessee has won, and the Volunteers now are back in a first-place tie in the SEC East and control their own destiny the rest of the way out.
Tennessee had pulled off the shocker, going on the road and defeating the number 3 team in the nation, proving once again, never underestimate the determination of the Tennessee Volunteers.
With one purpose, to come down here and get it done, 4 quarters, 60 minutes. Way to keep it going, baby. I am so proud of you as a football team. I'm proud of the staff for fighting and got it. It's not what you did tonight that counts. You'll enjoy it tonight. They'll tell you how good you are. Keep working. Nobody picked us to win. Keep working to get better. Every day.
Well, they've heard it once or twice, but it just feels funny.
The Volunteers wouldn't need to unpack their travel bags after the big win at Georgia. Tennessee would head south to play the Ole Miss Rebels the following week. This would be the first time since 1988 that the Vols played down in Oxford. But more importantly, with 6 games left in the 2004 season, the Big Orange was sitting in the catbird seat in the SEC East. The 9 o'clock ESPN game didn't affect the offense in the beginning for this one. The Vols took the opening kickoff and proceeded to march down the turf. Gerald Riggs picked up a quick 13 yards on the first 3 plays to get the ball moving. 2 plays later, Riggs stormed 24 yards to the Ole Miss 33. Eric Ainge then would air it out to a wide-open Tony Brown, whose momentum would force him out of bounds just 2 yards short from scoring. So from the 1, bring on the goal line specialist. Jabari Davis leaped in for the Vols' first score. 7-0, and Tennessee wasn't done. The defense would play big roles all night. And on 3rd and 7, Rebels quarterback Ethan Flatt was picked off by Brandon Johnson. That turnover set up the Vols' second score of the night. It would also bring on a pass from Dustin Colquitt. The All-American would fake the punt on 4th and 7, hitting Chris Hannon for the first down. Ole Miss was stunned, and the Vols would be headed to the end zone. Gerald Riggs would tack on 6 more with a 21-yard scamper. Tennessee would go up 14-0, and then what looked to be an offensive explosion saw the wheels fall off. Ainge and the offense would be held scoreless till midway in the 4th quarter. In that span, Ole Miss managed to score 2 touchdowns and kick a field goal to put the Rebels up by 3. With Tennessee's offense going cold early in the game, the defense picked up the slack. Mississippi native Paris Harrelson would pad his stats, collecting 2 sacks and totaling 10 tackles on the night. Brandon Johnson would collect 2 picks. Kevin Burnett and Jason Mitchell each would get to the quarterback for a sack apiece. The defense did all they could to make up for the mistakes being made on special teams and by the squandering offense. Ole Miss took advantage of the mishaps, and they were leading with 11 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Ainge would need to answer to get the lead back. That spark was a 39-yard bomb to wide receiver Robert Meacham. The redshirt freshman, however, would be called for stepping out of bounds, to the dismay of Coach Fulmer and the rest of the Big Orange faithful. Ainge would overcome, though. 2 plays later, receiver Brett Smith would lay out to make a 2-handed catch for a 30-yard touchdown. The Vols hit the extra point to give them a 21-17 lead. That score would stand, and Tennessee would sneak out of the Grove with the win and keep control of their own destiny in the East. 2 road trips, 2 wins would get the Vols halfway in the season with a 5-1 record and set the stage for the annual October Showdown. Tennessee, Alabama. To anyone who grew up in the Southeast, hearing these 2 words will either elevate your spirits or ruin your mood faster than saying the Bear. The outcome of your feelings depends on the result of this annual rival game. Another one of those gut checks occurred on October 23rd at Neyland Stadium. The 11th-ranked Volunteers would welcome the Tide into Knoxville.
All we need now is the whistle from the referee, and we'll start play here. Tennessee and Alabama. And this the 87th meeting between these longtime great rivals. Will Hoyt waits for the whistle. There it is, and ladies and gentlemen, it is football time in Tennessee. Will Hoyt nails a line drive that's going to skip into the end zone. It'll be fielded back there by Brandon Brooks. He'll down it, and Alabama will start 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line.
Alabama would get the ball first in this contest, and on the second play of their drive, Tennessee's Turk McBride would help the defense accomplish a first for the year, a defensive touchdown.
2nd down and 5, Alabama, from the Crimson Tide, 25-yard line. 2 tight ends. Handoff. It's deflected in the backfield. Picked up. It's going to be running for a touchdown by Paris Harrelson. 18 yards as Harrelson scoops up the fumble. Tennessee got penetration, messed up the handoff in the backfield. Harrelson right there to scoop it up and race him for the first score. And in 45 seconds of the game, Tennessee has jumped in front 6-0 on a defensive turnover.
Harrelson's 18-yard gift was a boost for the defense, one that would prove to be huge when the zeros hit in the fourth quarter. Now, Alabama's defense came in as one of the best in the nation, and on Tennessee's second possession, the Tide proved their defensive hype. Eric Ainge would be picked off by D'Amico Ryans, setting up a Tim Castile 2-yard touchdown, tying the game at 7. Alabama would get the lead at the beginning of the second quarter on a 34-yard field goal from Brian Bostic. Down by 3, the Vols defense wouldn't be outdone, stopping an Alabama drive and forcing a punt to Derek Tinsley, who was eagerly awaiting the pigskin to fall.
Low spiral. Tinsley catches it at his 25-yard line, breaks the first tackle. He's in the middle. He's got running room. Tinsley makes a move on the punter, makes another cutback. He's got some blockers. Tinsley to the 30, and Tinsley is taken out at the 28-yard line. Derek Tinsley with a great return as he weaves his way through the Alabama defense, and finally Andrews makes the play and puts him down.
The senior's return to Alabama's 29 would set up the Ainge to Swain show. The Vols signal caller would hit wide receiver Jason Swain on 2 passes, the first for 10 yards, the next would be for 19.
And now Ainge back to throw. Ainge sets, fires across the middle, complete. That's a touchdown to Jason Swain. Eric Ainge checks off, sees Swain from the left side, running the post pattern, and Eric Ainge got it right in between the safeties. Perfect throw.
Tennessee led 14-10 with 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the second quarter. Alabama would threaten towards the end of the half, but defensive tackle Turk McBride would make a key play to stall the Crimson Tide effort. The half would end and Tennessee would head to the locker with a 14-10 lead. The Vols would get the ball at the start of the third quarter, and the offense, looking to make some adjustments at half, came out firing. Ainge would hit Tony Brown for a 17-yard gain. Then he unleashed a 37-yard bomb to who else? Jason Swain. The Alabama native would end the night with 80 yards and a touchdown. James Wilhoit would come on to try and extend the Vols' lead.
Waits for the snap. John Henderson to put it down. He does. There's the kick. The kick on the way, spinning for the end zone. That kick is going to be good. James Wilhoit makes it a 7-point game as he boots home a 40-yard field goal. And so Tennessee scores on its opening possession in the third quarter.
Tennessee was up by 7 heading into the fourth quarter. Alabama then would cut it to 4 when Bostic hit a 47-yarder. With 6:26 left in the game, Tennessee would go 3 and out, giving Alabama a chance for the win. That's when Tennessee's defense really put on the pressure. Kevin Burnett would hit Alabama's tailback for a 3-yard loss. Omar Gaither would knock Kenneth Darby back for another 3 yards. That set up a 4th and 6 for the Tide's offense.
Play of the ball game, at least to this point.
This is loud as the crowd's been all day. 4th down and 6. Under 2 minutes to go, and Tennessee leading 17-13. Bama from its own 47-yard line. Tennessee showing blitz. Here they come. Pennington back to throw. Airs it out long. Left sideline. Incomplete. Intended for throw. There's a penalty flag down. Penalty flag down back in the Alabama backfield at the 35-yard line. It could be roughing the passer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 98 on the defense. 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Paris Harrelson roughing the passer keeps the Alabama drive alive.
Alabama would get a new set of downs on Harrelson's penalty. So, with new life, Alabama's first play would go for a loss of 3 yards. Then, on 2nd and 13, the drama would unfold.
2nd and 12 from the Tennessee 40-yard line. Pennington back to throw. Pennington fires the ball for the end zone. It's intercepted down at the 15-yard line. Intercepted by Corey Campbell. Pennington throwing into coverage, and the pass is picked off. Campbell, his 2nd interception of the year. It was intended for Keith Brown, and Tennessee's defense comes up with a turnover at the 15-yard line. The 2nd turnover of the game, and that could seal it for Tennessee.
Tennessee would then run the clock out, and in doing so, end another chapter in this heated rivalry.
17 seconds to go. Coach Fulmer just got the shower, the cooler dumped on him in celebration of his 10th win against the Crimson Tide. 10 seconds to go, 8 seconds to go. Ainge has got to snap it one more time. He'll do it with 1 second on the clock. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. There's the snap. There's the victory. Tennessee beats Alabama 17-13 here at Neyland Stadium as Tennessee moves to 6-1 overall, 4-1 in the SEC.
There's a lot of game balls to go around. I'm proud of you guys. You don't know how big it is. You'll only understand that the older you get. Okay, how big it is when you can beat Alabama year in and year out like you guys have been able to do.
On October 30th, the 11th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers headed to Columbia, South Carolina for the 8th game of the 2004 season. The Vols, 6-1, were still in control of the SEC East with 3 conference games left to play. A South Carolina Gamecock upset would make them bowl eligible. Tennessee composed their own concoction and resembled more like a version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on this day. Good thing the aftertaste was better than the solution they drank at the beginning of this one. The Vols' sluggish first half would see South Carolina jump out to an 8-0 lead on a safety and 2 Josh Brown field goals. With the Vols misfiring, they needed a spark. So with 2:58 left in the first half, quarterback Brent Schaefer got the offense going. The mixture of number 7 and a little dose of Eric Ainge saw the Big Orange come out of a spell they seemed to be under.
A first and goal at the 6, and Tennessee holds it to no points. Schaefer going to roll to the near side. Schaefer fires the out pattern. It's complete at the 30-yard line. Inside handoff and some running room up the middle. And still on his feet is Gerald Riggs on 3rd down and 2. Carolina with a 4-man front, linebackers up close, snug. Ainge, 3-step drop, looks, nobody open. Ainge being pressured. Ainge throws the ball, shuffles it off to his running back, and trying to make a play, and getting the first down is Gerald Riggs. Out of the shotgun, Schaefer gets the snap, rolls to the near side, looking, pumps, still looks, fires the ball long downfield. That pass is going to be... Did he catch it? I think he did. He did at the 21-yard line. C.J. Phaeton.
Schaefer's boost got the Vols to the South Carolina 21. And from there, Ainge finished off the drive, hitting an unmanned surprise for 6.
Ainge goes under center, backs in the I formation. Ainge play fake, looks over the middle, fires the ball, lobs it for the end zone. Man wide open. Touchdown, Tennessee. The fullback, David Holbert.
Holbert's first touchdown of the year made the score 8-6 South Carolina. Philip Fulmer didn't hesitate. The Vols had momentum and the legs of Schaefer.
With Schaefer on the 2-point play. Schaefer gets the snap. Schaefer, quarterback draw. Schaefer to the 5. He's going to walk in for 2, and Tennessee has tied the game at 8-8. Brent Schaefer on the called quarterback draw. Sent everybody to the left. He went right and just skips in untouched. And what a deflating turn of events for this Carolina crowd, and a huge lift for Tennessee with 30 seconds left. It's now an 8-8 game.
The Vols would gladly take momentum and a tie ball game into the locker room. And whatever ailed Tennessee in the first half was out of their system by the time the second half got underway.
1st and 10 at the 20. Schaefer under center, handoff, tailback, trying to get some room. Breaking a tackle is Cedric Houston. Houston in the open field. Houston the midfield. Houston now down to the 40, to the 30, and taken down at the 28-yard line. Showing blitz. Snap to Ainge, back to throw. Fires over the middle. That pass is going to be complete. Right on target. Touchdown, Tennessee, to Chris Hannon.
The Vols would take a 15-8 lead and never look back. The next offensive series entailed gloom. Brent Schaefer would take a hit that would break his clavicle. Schaefer was out of the game with his shoulder in a sling. Later in the third quarter, Ainge would pick up the offense. It only took one shot to get the ball in the end zone when he hit Chris Brown for his first TD of the season. Tennessee 22, South Carolina 8. The Vols kept pouring it on, and Cedric Houston would be a factor on this drive.
I formation. Handoff tailback, trying to get some running room, popping to the outside is Houston. Houston on the gallop again, to midfield, to the 30. Cedric Houston to the 10, to the 5, and he's taken down at the 3-yard line. Cedric Houston finally caught by Fred Bennett. But Cedric Houston having a big, big day. Gallops 65 yards before he's taken down at the 3-yard line.
Houston would bust in for 6 on a 1-yard run. The senior ended the day rushing for a career-high 190 yards on 15 carries. The Vols went up 29-8. Omar Gaither's interception in the fourth quarter helped Tennessee get the ball back and allowed another first-timer to score.
Yancey getting a chance to run it. They'll give it to him up the middle. Yancey breaks a tackle to the 15, to the 5. Yancey's in the end zone. Touchdown, David Yancey.
There's another guy who earned his scholarship.
Right, what a thrill for Yancey. His first career touchdown, 23 yards out, and Tennessee now leads Carolina 35-15.
Tennessee would end the scoring onslaught when South Carolina lined up for an onside kick.
Tennessee has everybody up. 10 players now within 10 yards of the free kick line, the 45-yard line, and there's nobody deep. Bowers got an onside kick to the right. The kick goes high up in the air, and it's fielded by a Tennessee upback. Brett Smith racing down the sideline. Smith to the 5. Touchdown, Tennessee on the onside kick. It's a free ball. Pops up in the air. Brett Smith just picks it out of the air and outruns the South Carolina cover team, and Tennessee has a score. Tennessee on the onside kick turns it the other way against South Carolina, and Smith scores.
The tale of two halves would see another W in the column for the Volunteers. A 43-29 victory was just another stepping stone to get to Atlanta. Tennessee would line up and play their 8th straight game the following week in Knoxville. The Vols were limping into Game 9. The squad was dealing with the everyday bumps and bruises, along with big injuries on the offensive line. Not to forget that Brent Schaefer was lost for 5 weeks with that broken clavicle. The challenge on this weekend would be a non-conference bout with legendary Notre Dame. The boys in orange would strike for 3 after James Wilhoit kicked a 30-yard field goal. In the second quarter, quarterback Eric Ainge hit Cedric Houston on a screen, and the highlight began.
Tennessee operates from its own 43-yard line now. Ainge back to throw, looking to set up the screen. Does so to Cedric Houston. Houston running to the 40-yard line. Breaks a tackle. Houston breaks another one to the 20. Houston to the 10, to the 5, to the checkerboard. Touchdown, Tennessee!
Tennessee was up 10-7, but the story of this game was not what the Vols were hoping for. The unbelievable would happen with seconds ticking away at the end of the first half. Eric Ainge would suffer a dislocated shoulder after he was sacked. The Vols had lost their 2 freshman quarterbacks in as many weeks. Rick Clausen would come in to play quarterback. He was 10 of 18 for 120 yards, but a field goal was all Tennessee could muster in the second half. Notre Dame came away with a 17-13 victory. The Vols would have 2 weeks to rest and get ready for Vanderbilt. With 2 games left in the season, Tennessee traveled to Nashville on November 20th to play in-state foe, the Vanderbilt Commodores. This contest was a little closer than Coach Philip Fulmer would have scripted. Rick Clausen got the start at quarterback, but running back Cedric Houston was the man on this day, scoring the first 3 touchdowns for the Vols, the first after Corey Larkins caused a Commodore fumble.
A single back is Cedric Houston. They'll try Houston at the middle. Big hole, and Houston dances into the end zone. Tennessee in 2 plays takes the score, and the Volunteers lead early by a score of 6-0. Clausen under center, handoff up the middle. Now popping to the outside is Cedric Houston, and he's in for a Tennessee touchdown. On 1st and goal, they'll try Houston up the middle. Houston spins to the 2, dives to the end zone. His 3rd touchdown of the day, and Tennessee expands the lead.
Tennessee was up 21-6. Clausen then got to show what he's capable of doing.
Clausen under center. Clausen back to throw. Looking. Fires over the middle. Right for the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee to Jason Swain. A bullet from Rick Clausen. and he hits Swain wide open in the middle of the Vanderbilt secondary, right at the back of the end zone, right in front of the goalpost. Great throw by Clausen, and Tennessee leads this 27-6.
Up by 22, the Big Orange couldn't afford a letdown. Vanderbilt scored twice before the half was up. The lead quickly evaporated 28-20. James Wilhoit added 3 points in the third quarter from 34 yards away. Later in the quarter, Rick Clausen called on Swain for the second time of the game.
Tennessee leading 31-20 as Clausen brings them up. Backs on the offset eye to the right, two wideouts to the right, and Clausen drops to throw. Looks right, fires over the middle. It's going to be a touchdown, Tennessee. Jason Swain. Clausen looked him off and then found Swain cutting toward the goalpost in the back of the end zone. Clausen right on target for his second touchdown pass of the day. Clausen zipped that one.
Tennessee found themselves back up 38-20. The Doors would score two more touchdowns, but it would not be enough. The final score, 38-33. The victory would make Tennessee the SEC East champs and secure a rematch with the Auburn Tigers on December 4th in the SEC championship game. The Volunteers would still have one game left on the docket, a home meeting with the Kentucky Wildcats. The 2004 regular season came to a close on November 27th against the Kentucky Wildcats. 17 seniors ran through the tee for the final time. After a Kentucky field goal, Rick Clausen would guide the Vols down the field.
On 3rd down and 8, Clausen back to throw right over the middle. He's got his man wide open. That's going to be the tight end, Chris Brown. There's the bad snap, but Clausen picks it up. His out pattern is complete, and breaking a tackle down the near sideline is Brett Smith. Bunch pattern to the left. Now they send Phaeton in motion across the formation. They'll try Houston over right tackle. He's got running room inside the 25, down to the 22-yard line. As Tennessee has it 2nd down and 7 at the Kentucky 20-yard line. Clausen play fake. Here's the blitz. He fires for the end zone. The pass is going to be to Tony Brown, out of bounds at the half-yard line.
Brown would come up 1 yard shy, but Clausen would finish the drive.
In at tailback, but it'll be Clausen who'll sneak it across for a Tennessee touchdown. His first rushing touchdown as a Tennessee Volunteer.
The Vols would take a 7-3 lead, but Kentucky came back when Shane Boyd tossed a 20-yard touchdown pass. The Wildcat defense would score next when a pressured Clausen was intercepted by Ricky Abram. The Vols, now down by 10, would use their powerful fullback on a draw.
2nd down along 6. Handoff, fullback up the middle. Big hole, Corey Anderson. His first carry of the year goes for a Tennessee touchdown. Anderson from 22 yards out, right up the middle, and the big fullback rumbles into the checkerboards for a Tennessee touchdown.
The extra point was blocked. The score, 17-13, but James Wilhoit would get another chance. This time booting a 24-yard field goal. Tennessee still trailed 17-16. Kentucky wouldn't quit, but with 40 seconds to go in the first half, neither would Tennessee.
1st and 10 from the 47-yard line. Clausen back to throw, throws the ball down the right sideline. It is caught by C.J. Phaeton down at the 20-yard line. What a diving catch by Phaeton. Tennessee trailing 24-16. There's the snap. Clausen back to throw, fires over the middle. Meacham, touchdown, Tennessee! Great pass as Rick Clausen right on target to Meacham. The post pattern into the checkerboards for a Tennessee touchdown.
The start of the second half would see another James Wilhoit kick blocked, and the Wildcats would extend their lead. With 10 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter and needing a spark, Philip Fulmer dipped into his bag of tricks.
Flood pattern, 3 to the left. Now they send a man in motion that way. Here's the bubble screen. Phaeton's going to throw it, tees it up, bombs it down the field. There's a man there. Pass complete down to the 20-yard line. And now running down to the 15 and taking down to the 12-yard line, Robert Meacham. C.J. Phaeton, a former quarterback in high school, came up on the end around and then threw to Meacham. The ball hung up a long time, but Meacham able to make the catch, and now Tennessee strikes with the trick play.
That would get the Vols going, and 2 plays later, wide receiver Tony Brown would make his senior day memorable.
On this 2nd down play, Clausen play fake, rolls, fires for the end zone. The pass is going to be to Tony Brown. Touchdown to the far corner of the end zone. Clausen rolling right. Tony Brown got right to the pylon, and Clausen makes a great throw. Tennessee into the end zone.
Kentucky was still up by 2 and had the ball with time ticking away in the fourth quarter. But another senior would make one of the best plays of his career.
Kentucky 2 wideouts to the right, the wide side of the field. Boyd will send his tailback in motion to the left. And now Boyd drops to throw. Pressure. Boyd being pressured and sacked back at the 37-yard line. Carlton Neal gets in and brings him down.
The sack forced a punt, but the defense would be called on once again. After a job well done, it was up to the offense to reward the effort.
Clock is stopped, 2:32 to go. Here's Kentucky on the blitz. Clausen reads it, fires to the slot man. It's complete to Tony Brown. Brown down to the 20-yard line and taken down.
The senior wide receiver would put Tennessee in a position to win 20 straight against Kentucky. An underclassman would finish the job.
Clausen under center. Sends a man in motion across the formation. Tries Riggs up the middle. Riggs breaks a tackle and skips into the checkerboards. Touchdown right up the middle to Gerald Riggs. And Tennessee, with 38 seconds remaining, has put together a drive to give them the lead. 35-31 as Gerald Riggs pops it right behind the blocking of Rob Smith and Jason Respert and Richie Gandy right up the middle. And Tennessee has fought from behind in the fourth quarter and now has the lead back.
Tennessee won the game 37-31 and capped off a terrific season, ending 9-2 overall and 7-1 in the SEC. The Vols also won the SEC East, doing so for the fourth time in 8 years, which bodes well for the next generation.
Here come the Volunteers, led by Coach Philip Fulmer, as they take the field to the roar of the Tennessee faithful. Flash bulbs exploding all over the Georgia Dome. Tim, got to get to the hair on the back of your neck, doesn't it?
It does. Almost anybody in here tonight feels like they could play a few plays at the start of this game. There's so much adrenaline in the house, and Tennessee's got a chance to do something big.
Bliss waits for the snap. Gets it. It's a little bit high through his hands. Bliss goes back and falls on it at the 13-yard line. So the snap was high from Peyton Compton. Bliss had it go through his hands and had to go back and fall on it. And Tennessee gets a break. And the Volunteers will have it deep in Auburn territory at the 14-yard line.
Coming into this game, you knew Tennessee had to get some breaks, some fumbles, a big play in the kicking game or something. If they're going to be in it, there's the first one.
Auburn on its first drive fumbled at the 1-yard line. Williams fumbled into the end zone, but Auburn fell on it, and now Auburn has coughed it up again, this time at the Tiger 14-yard line. Tigers lead 14-0. Clausen under center. Clausen is backs in the I formation. Handoff Houston up the middle. He dives. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. There is a penalty flag down. Cedric Houston goes over the top right behind Jason Respert, and Rob Smith dives into the end zone. Let's see if Auburn jumped. And they sort things out.
Number 4, defense was in the neutral zone at the snap. That penalty is refused. Touchdown.
Touchdown, Tennessee. Cedric Houston over the top as Tennessee takes advantage of the Auburn miscue in the kicking game. Makes them pay, and now Tennessee has a chance to cut the Auburn lead in half. Campbell under center, waits for the snap, has 2 wideouts to the left, gets it, drops back, looks, fires for the end zone, the pass, deflected, almost intercepted. Is it intercepted into the end zone? Yes, intercepted on the deflection by Corey Campbell. The original pass was deflected by Omar Gaither over the middle. It ricocheted into the end zone, and Corey Campbell picks off his 4th interception of the season and stops the Auburn drive with 7 seconds on the first half clock. Campbell out of the shotgun. Ronnie Brown is in the backfield with him. He'll shift him to the left side now. That's the side that has 3 wideouts. Campbell gets the snap. Scissor play. Fakes the handoff. Keeps it. Barrels out to the 20. The ball comes free, and Tennessee has fallen on the football. Turk McBride has come up with a fumble. Kevin Burnett, I think, put the hit on Jason Campbell, or it might have been Mahalona. But anyway, the ball pops free, and Tennessee gets another turnover, this time at the Auburn 20-yard line.
Need not just stops, but turnovers, and they got it. Campbell that time trying to go up the middle. Mitchell stopped the hole up. I'm not sure who made the hit that caused the fumble, but as soon as he was popped, the ball came out. It looked like Burnett maybe caused the fumble.
McBride comes up with the fumble, as Campbell tries to run the scissors play and keep it, and the ball pops free. Clausen drops the throw, sets up, fires the pass to the end zone. It's going to be a Tennessee touchdown, complete to Robert Meacham. Brett Clausen steps back and fires a dart. Meacham makes a sliding catch into the end zone, and the Volunteers have cut the Auburn lead to 21-13. What a great catch by Meacham, his 4th touchdown catch of the season.
Meacham just runs straight downfield. If the safety bites in, he continues straight down. If the safety bites out, he cuts in. When he cut in, the ball came in low. He dived and caught it right as he crossed the goal line.
17 yards on that play, and now Tennessee trying to tack on the extra point, and Will Hoyt does that. Tennessee has cut the Auburn lead to a touchdown. 9:39 to go, 3rd quarter. Auburn now leads Tennessee by a score of 21-14. Clausen under center. Clausen backs in the offset eye. They hand the ball up the middle, and breaking it is Gerald Riggs. Riggs running by himself to the 40, to the 30, Riggs to the 20, all the way for a Tennessee touchdown, 80 yards, no flags. Gerald Riggs pops it over left tackle and races 80 yards for a touchdown, and now Tennessee has a chance to tie the game. What a huge block by Rob Smith.
Bob, Auburn's defense is gambling. They had 10 men within 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, and the only guy back was out to the left. As soon as Riggs broke the line of scrimmage, there was nobody within a mile of him. He just coasted the last 30 yards.
And so now James Wilhoit on to try the extra point to tie this game. Waits for the snap. There it is. Kick on the way. And that kick is going to be perfect. Tie game. 6:05 to go. Tennessee has tied the game at 21 all. They hand to Riggs, a little stretch play. Riggs has running room again to the 30, down to the left sideline to the 40. Riggs to midfield, breaks a tackle to the 40, to the 30, still on his feet and finally shoved out of bounds. Just the stretch play, and Riggs finding yardage, and he's rolled out of bounds at the 26-yard line in Auburn territory. 54 yards for Gerald Riggs.
Number 28, Chris Brown, in motion from left to right, and then turned back to his left and blew up the defensive end and caused the hole, and Riggs ran brilliantly through it.
In fact, Brown blocked 2 guys when he turned inside. Now, Riggs, 7 carries for 165 yards. Tennessee going toward the Auburn side of things, so into the strength of their fans. Handoff Riggs, stretch play to the left, to the 10, to the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown, Gerald Riggs. 9 yards for the score. Gerald Riggs' 2nd touchdown of the night, and that one pulls Tennessee to 31-27. Great play that time, the stretch play left, and Riggs broke a tackle at the 5 and took it in for the score.
Bob, Auburn has won their SEC games by 19 points. They've never been in a tight 4th quarter. We're going to find out now how they react. Tennessee's had a lot of tight 4th quarters this year. I think they know how to play under those circumstances.
Will Hoyt on to try the extra point. Snap down, kick on the way. Kick is good. 5 plays, 80 yards. Took 1:39 off the clock. And Gerald Riggs with a couple of big runs pulls Tennessee to within 3. Our score with 10:07 to go now is Auburn 31, Tennessee 28.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly called when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Keep me in your heart for a while. Heart for a while.
He can run. He can hit. He shuts down the opponent's passing game. And his tackling?
Oh, yeah.
We'll let you decide.
Hey, well, this is my show here. This is my show.
Jason Allen used his rare blend of size and speed to acquire all those skills and become one of the conference's standout cornerbacks in 2003. But this season, he has taken on a new position at safety.
Now, one might think it would be a hard sell to get Allen to switch to a new position. But once you realize what drives Jason to play at such a high level, that's when you understand why he didn't question the move.
I just want to go out there and help contribute and help my team win, mean as game as possible. And if that means I have to play linebacker, safety, corner, wherever, I just want to go out there and win.
He knows what he's doing. You can't stop him. You know, he, like Coach said, he's probably one of the best players on the team. Might be the best player on the team. When you look at him, moving him around the safety, that really benefits him because he can play more than one position on the football field. So he's a guy that you definitely will want and need to have on the football field.
We've been fortunate around here to have guys like that. Julian Battle was that kind of guy that could play corner and then play safety. Andre Lott bailed us out his senior year. He played safety, he had been a corner, and now Jason Allen is that same kind of guy.
Challenges have always motivated the Alabama native. He has consistently played his best in the Vols' biggest games. Now the test of playing a new position will provide fuel for getting better.
Anytime someone thinks that you can't do anything, I like to prove them wrong. And a lot of times in my career, high school and middle school and even in college, have guys tell me I couldn't do this or you can't do that, and I always like to prove guys wrong.
You look at last year's Vanderbilt game and Alabama game where he took it upon himself. You know, they basically said, we're going to go at number 18, and he went out there and stopped him. That's what kind of man he is.
The kind of player that Allen is led his teammates to elect Jason as a captain for the 2004 season, a responsibility the junior takes on each and every day.
I lead by example. I give 110%, go out each and every day trying to get better and try to improve myself. And guys see that, and they want to do the same thing.
Jason doesn't have to say a whole lot. The players understand that, boy, he's got such great work ethic. He has all of those intangibles that make successful people, that what successful people are made of. And we use an expression, you know, we'll say, hey, your actions speak so loud that I can't hear you. Well, his actions speak so loud that his teammates voted him captain.
For the Philip Fulmer Show, I'm Russell Biven. The tailback position at the University of Tennessee is rich in tradition.
Right up the middle, finds a hole. Lewis to the 15, breaks a tackle. 5, touchdown!
Highly touted freshmen come in and evolve into superstars. Running backs like Jamal Lewis, Charlie Garner, and Travis Henry have created incredible expectations for anyone who follows.
Yeah, you feel that pressure because a lot of the older guys, they know if you're a running back and you're a freshman, you must be pretty good because you two one that came out and got you.
You know, growing up, myself, I knew about Tennessee football, and I was way in Texas, but the thing that I knew about most was the running backs. You know, that it was a place where the running backs came from that were highly productive, made their way to the pros, and continued the productivity that they had in college along into the pros.
4 years ago, Cedric Houston came to Tennessee hoping to follow in those footsteps. In the previous 2 seasons, Houston has shown flashes of fulfilling his potential. Now, in his senior season, the senior tailback is looking and playing healthy for the first time since his freshman campaign.
I think it's just maturing our way up and just getting a little tougher out there and just trying to not get in, try to stay injury free this year and just go out there and just play hard. I pretty much think if I just play hard, I won't get injured.
The kid just wanted to prove himself, you know. I think he did get caught up in some of the hype and reading some of the things. And, you know, he's like any other player. They really want to do their very best and please you. Haven't met a player yet that just wanted to fail. And what I tried to talk to Seth about was just taking care of what he could control, which is how hard he worked, his alignment, his assignment, and his effort. And he took that to heart.
They hand it off to Houston. Houston gets in just inside the pylon.
Cedric's improvements could not have come at a better time for the Vols. Playing 2 freshman quarterbacks creates a huge amount of pressure on an offense, and having a back like Houston in the backfield helps ease the load of the young players.
Coming in the spring and then this coming up summer, Coach Troop and Coach Farmer addressed it to us a whole lot that we, the running backs, we had to get the offense going, get the offense started. And if we didn't have a good game, the offense probably wouldn't have a good game. So we just took that to heart.
Whenever you can run the football, it takes a lot of pressure off of those guys having to make a lot of decisions and, you know, the blitzes and those things coming at them. So it's been a great help for those quarterbacks.
With Cedric and the other running backs helping to take the pressure off the young quarterbacks, the offense is clicking on all cylinders. And as is the case with all great Tennessee teams of the past, success starts with the run game. For the Philip Fulmer Show, I'm Russell Bivens. Paris Harrelson has been a standout on Fall Saturdays since his first season as a Volunteer in 2002. His speed and strength strikes fear in the minds of opposing quarterbacks and ball carriers that have to look across the line at number 98.
Though Paris arrived as a gifted freshman, it wasn't until the off-season workouts following the 2002 campaign that the coaching staff would really see what kind of player Harrelson could be. Where did he win over the coaches? Right here in the Tennessee weight room.
You have to develop that explosive strength that you need to play the game of football. Obviously, he does a great job. You know, he knew where he had to be, so he took a lot of effort and a lot of pride in that within himself to develop that during the offseason and that time of the year.
My freshman year, they kind of told me I was competing for the starting role, so going into the offseason, you know, I did a lot of things to get my upper body strong, to get my lower body strong, and worked on my quickness and speed, worked on technique, you know, as much as I could when I wasn't lifting weights.
You know, he approaches football like he does, I think, every day of his life. Go at it 110%. The effort and intensity on that football field is what you see when he comes into that weight room. There's not a day in that weight room he doesn't try to get himself better. That's off season and in season.
Paris has carried that same tenacity and vigor to the practice field, where he's been a living, breathing, hard-hitting example of what the Volunteer coaching staff stresses to each player.
What Paris brings to the table, not only on the football field, you know, during the game, it's what he does during practice. He practices like he's going to play on Saturday.
I hear Coach Caldwell tell us all the time, you know, you practice how you play. Coach Tavis, Coach Farmer, they always say, you know, you go in and you practice hard each and every day and you get in the game situation, you know, on the game Saturday, you're going to practice hard, you're going to play hard.
The standard that Harrelson sets as a student athlete led his teammates to name him a captain for the 2004 season. But for Paris, part of being a good leader is understanding that there's much more to learn from his coaches and teammates.
Being elected captain is something that, you know, I have having to grow into, but it's something that's steadily coming along and steadily learning how to be a leader, which sometimes, you know, people have to lead me. There's always times on the field where I look to some of my teammates for help. So when they look for me to help, I just plan on being there for them.
Those who've seen the Florida-Mississippi native polish his game throughout his Tennessee career know that Harrelson's future is bright. But no matter how many accolades the junior collects from this point forward, it will always be his consistent hard work that's the backbone for his success.
He knows what it takes, you know, to be successful. Great work ethic, you know, like I said, off the field, in the weight room, and in the classroom. You know, one thing about Paris, you don't ever have to worry about what he's doing off the field. you know, when he comes to the field, he's going to give you everything he's got.
He reminds me a lot of Al Wilson and that attitude. He always walks in every day and gives you 110%, as I said, but you know, you have to understand that he's only at the beginning, and I think by the time he leaves out of here, you know, he'll have that great respect like an Al Wilson has.
For the Philip Fulmer Show, I'm Russell Bivin.
Calls at times just to get some subs into the game, and one of the new faces, C.J. Phaeton, the football player.
C.J. Phaeton arrived on the Tennessee campus as a standout QB on the gridiron and a high-scoring guard on the hardwood. C.J. got his chance both as a false signal caller and as a point guard on the UT basketball team in 2001. But soon the coaching staff realized that Phaeton's talents were needed at a place where he had never played.
I had plans to be a quarterback here, but that quickly changed, and I decided I'd be a helpful team if I played receiver. So I went to receiver with Coach Washington, learned a lot in my first year, and now starting to come into my own. And I even played basketball my freshman year, and that was something I always wanted to do and give it a try.
He's an athlete in every sense of the word, you know. To be able to play basketball on this level and to come out and play 3 or 4 different positions on the football field speaks volumes about his athletic ability. He's definitely blessed.
He has speed, has nice size for a receiver, and he has great quickness. He can beat you off the line, like I said. So you have to play him real smart, play with great technique. If you don't, he definitely can beat you deep.
Phaeton's athletic ability and supreme versatility eased his transition to receiver. But it's his mental preparation and his work ethic that make the Virginia native excel both on and off the field.
He's a great example. You know, you can always watch CJ, and he'll always be doing something to get him better. So that's always a positive.
You have to be mentally prepared to do any of that, to switch from quarterback to receiver and have success in both of those areas, especially at a program here like Tennessee. And also even to go on and play basketball and then to keep your grades up, it just takes a lot of mental concentration, a lot of time management.
Now in his 3rd season as a wideout, Phaeton has blossomed into a playmaking threat for the Volunteer offense. But you probably won't hear that from him.
He's probably the quietest, most talented guy I know. You know, he's a man of very few words. And when he does say something, you better listen because it's something important.
I have one main goal, and that's just to take advantage of every opportunity I get on the football field, whether it be out there making plays, catching balls, or blocking or anything. Every time I step on the field, I just want to give 100% and just make each and every play I can.
After waiting in the wings for over 2 years, 2004 has been a breakout year for Omar Gaither. Following solid performances in 2002 and 2003 that saw him lead the Vols in special teams tackles, Gaither is getting his opportunity to start at linebacker. With an enthusiasm for the game of football unmatched by anyone else, the junior linebacker is flourishing in his new starting role.
I didn't know when I first got here, I didn't think he was a linebacker. But as I got to see him play, I was just astounded. His aggressive type of play and his smarts. He can drop back, he can cover, tackle.
He enjoys the game. He enjoys competing. He enjoys playing. And like I said, that makes him a pleasure to coach because he's been a great student of the game.
When you get your job done off the field and in the camera room watching film, I think it makes the game a lot easier. When you know what they're trying to do to you and what's about to happen before they even do it, I mean, you can be in the right position to make the plays. It's a lot easier.
Omar takes his job seriously not only off the field but on it as well. Whenever the defense finds itself in need of motivation, Gaither is more than happy to provide.
When I see him on the field, it feeds us, it feeds the defensive front, and I tell him out there, you know, make plays, I follow you, we'll follow you, just lead us.
I think everybody's a leader. We have captains at each position, and they're not the only ones who can be leaders, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing, that we all realize that. Sometimes, somebody may not be having a good game and someone else has to step up and have a good game. And that's just the mindset about this defense and about this team as a whole. We know that when someone's not doing well, that we have to pick it up and just play that much harder for that person.
Along with outstanding leadership abilities, Omar's passion for football has helped establish him as one of Tennessee's best defensive playmakers. And that passion has driven Omar and the rest of the defensive unit near the top of the SEC.
Oh, it's fun to be around. He's got a really outgoing personality, and I think that kind of carries over into football. Obviously, he's been a good student of the game. He's an outstanding athlete that can make plays, and certainly that's what he's been doing for us of late.
I'm a very vocal person. I say what's on my mind a lot of times, and I think a lot of times that it comes out in your play. When you're passionate, and like most people on our defense, we're all passionate. When someone makes a play, we all gather around and we celebrate together. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you're playing around people who you care about and who you truly feel they care about you, you can play that much tougher for them.
For the Philip Fulmer Show, I'm Russell Bivin.
Ainge, perfectly thrown, touchdown Tennessee. It's going to be running for a touchdown by Paris Harrelson. Picked off by Kevin Burnett. Cedric Houston having a big, big day.
Those are the names that you have heard.
Intercepted Tennessee, Rashawn Fellows. Touchdown Tennessee, the fullback, David Holbert. Touchdown Justin Reed.
But you might not be quite as familiar with some of these Vols.
Touchdown David Yancey.
Calling the 2004 Tennessee football team deep or balanced is an understatement. In the first 8 games of the season, 17 different Volunteers have scored touchdowns, and 18 different defenders have recorded big plays.
I think that just shows how much talent depth we have. When you never know on any Saturday who's going to step up and make that big play, and that just shows that people are preparing themselves each and every week as if they're going to be that person, and they want to be that person, so they step up to that challenge.
These guys know what it takes to get it done, and so I think you see a lot of those older guys doing some things which picks up the younger guys around them. You're not going to get it done with 22 guys. It's going to take 60 or 70 guys to get where we want to be.
The squad's talent and depth was never in question. Having a championship attitude to go along with that skill is the challenge for every team, and it's something that each player developed long before the season began.
It was something that we started with in the spring, but it carried over with the freshmen coming in. They bought right into it, and the upperclassmen, so credit to those guys because they have to be unselfish. You got guys like Tony Brown that obviously would like to catch every touchdown, but he understands for our offense to be good and for the team to do well, we have to spread it around so that teams can't focus on just one aspect.
What they accomplished in January and in spring practice, summertime, and what they carried to the field this fall, their goals and their high expectations, I think everybody feeds off of that.
Everybody realized the opportunity you had this year, and that's something we just want to take advantage of, this opportunity. So any given Saturday, you have to step up and make plays when they're presented to you.
No one's, trying to get the spotlight. I think we all know what the greater goal is, and that's to win the championship here. And that's what we're trying to get done.
For the Philip Fulmer Show, I'm Russell Bivin. Every senior day and each senior class is memorable, but the players who ran through the tee for the final time on Saturday are part of a unique group of volunteers. As individuals, their talents were evident from the moment they arrived as student athletes, but collectively, their heart, character, and resiliency have provided the driving force behind their success.
Something good came out of a bad time. Something great came out of a good time. So it's just the memories that I've made, the friends that I made, knowing that these guys are going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life.
We kind of knew coming in that everybody worked hard. We all came in, had high dreams, great work ethics,
and we wanted to do big things, and I tell you, that definitely rubbed off on each and every one of us over the course of our career.
You are going to have to make sacrifices, so I put it up to myself to say, you know what, I'm going to get back and I'm going to do everything I can, put everything else aside, all my selfishness aside, to be the player that I want to be for this football team. I haven't thought about anything else but winning every Saturday.
Winning has been a trademark of the 2004 senior class. They leave wearing Eastern Division crowns for the third time in their careers, accomplishments that were reached because of the motivation they drew from each other.
When you have guys pushing you, with the competition we have here at Tennessee, if you're a competitive guy like we all are, you're going to look around and you're going to say, hey, I want to be the best I can be. And to see those guys and the way they carry themselves on and off the field is definitely encouraging.
Just having these guys around me and having these guys around this program has meant so much. When you look at what the Casey Clausens and the Mark Jones, Jabari Greers and Michael Munoz and Cedric Houstons have done, I mean, it wouldn't be the same without them.
For the Philip Fulmer Show, I'm Russell Bivin.
Please do not adjust your sets. Talk about retro. This is retro as Tennessee opens its 2004 season wearing the jerseys from 1971. On the Philip Fulmer, let's change that. Welcome to the Bill Battle Show. As the head football coach of the Volunteers, Bill Battle, joins us in 1971 mode.
It's a great time to be here and to see the retro jerseys that we designed back in 1971 and get a chance to see all the players at this reunion, and we've just had a ball this weekend.
I'm sure. Tell us what you've been doing since the fans want to know about Bill Battle.
Well, John, when I left Tennessee in 77, I went to work for a little company down in Alabama that went from 2 companies doing $12 million a year to 10 companies doing $60 million a year, and I started a company as part of that company, bought it out, moved it to Atlanta, and I've been in Atlanta in the collegiate trademark licensing business in Atlanta since 1984.
And fortunately, rumor has it that you've been able to make ends meet.
We've done fairly well. We had a get-together a few weeks ago with some of the old players and coaches from Tennessee, and Johnny Mills, who was the first guy that I coached in 1966 when I joined Doug's staff. Johnny and I have communicated over the years. He's about as old as I am, looks older than me. But Johnny said, if you're retired, and I have my son running the business now, but I still come in, still pretty active in the business and come in most days. And I said, well, I don't work too hard, but I come in. Johnny said, I know exactly what you're doing. I got my own business. My stepson runs my business. And I come in every day to pee on the trees, mark the territory, and I said, that's exactly what I'm doing.
We'll look at the 1971 Volunteers in just a moment. As Tennessee opens its 2004 season against UNLV Sunday night in Knoxville, this is John Ward with former head football coach Bill Battle of the Volunteers. Retro night wearing the jerseys, which you, I guess, designed.
I did, John. Tennessee didn't even own white jerseys till 1971, and the SEC, for some reason, passed a rule. It was a Tennessee rule that said you had to wear white jerseys at away games, and our jerseys were a little bit lighter, I think, than they are now. It didn't conflict with anybody's colors, but for whatever reason, they wanted to do that. So I decided I wanted as much orange on those white jerseys as I could get, and remembered in my childhood days wearing the shoulders with different colors, and got George Caffigo, who was in charge of our equipment, to help us get the manufacturers to design these things. And we got accused of looking like Halloween costumes, but they had a lot of orange on them anyway.
And we'll see just how much as we go to action in 1971, the first time Tennessee wore the jerseys in white. Tennessee playing at Florida, and here you'll see Alvarez coming to the near sideline for the Florida Gators, taking the give from Reeves. He's knocked down by Tennessee's Jackie Walker. Now Tennessee in the second quarter has the ball with Phil Pierce at quarterback.
Phil Pierce played a great game. I think Phil was the third quarterback that started for us that year, but he won the game for us. This was a huge game for Tennessee, for our program, and of course there's Kurt Watson scoring. Kurt from Crossville, who was a great player and a Blue Angels pilot, but Phil had a great night for Tennessee that night.
Tennessee leads 13-0, and this will be Reeves throwing downfield. The pass is complete, and the score is tied 13-13 at Florida Field. Tennessee has it first down at the Tennessee 1-yard line.
The ball was up against the end zone line. That was as long a drive as you could possibly have, and I didn't help us because I ran out on the field thinking the officials had made a mistake and they penalized us back up against the deal. But Phil Pierce and our team got us out of trouble, took us 99 3/4 yards, and there's the touchdown.
A second look here as the pass completed to Sonny Leach. That's Ernie Robertson's second look. He came up with that idea before replays ever came around. Now, back to throw. The long pass is complete, and this will be Stan Trott.
Stan Trott from Montgomery, Alabama. Saw Stan and Sonny both last night at the reunion, as well as a lot of these guys. Didn't see Phil Pierce and didn't see Kurt, but it was a great time, and we had a super reunion.
Tennessee wins 20-13. Now, the last time Tennessee played at Stoll Field in 1971. This will be at Lexington against Kentucky, and that was Kurt Watson for 17 yards. Quarterback is Maxwell.
They talked about bluegrass, and every time we played him, it was brown. But there's Jim Maxwell, who is one of the great stories in Tennessee history. He was a prime example of patience and perseverance, held on for 5 years and led our team to 7 wins for a 10-win season in 71. There's Kurt Watson again.
Taking it in to score, and Tennessee 7-0. As we continue with action in this football game, as Maxwell's at quarterback looking downfield, and he'll find a running back out here on the near side from Nashville, George Silvey.
George Silvey is a great player, a good Tennessee man, and model of consistency. Every day he came to work and played hard and really was a leader on that team.
This will be Maxwell as Tennessee leads 7-0, keeping the ball, and this will be Maxwell cutting back and scoring.
We didn't really think of Jim Maxwell as a great option quarterback, but he sure looked good there, didn't he, John?
Tennessee leads 14-0, but Kentucky really came back. They moved to score 14-7. Now they look like they're going in for the touchdown here. Here's the ball downfield that is caught by Kotar, who is a great running back. That changed that Clymer, and Clymer goes for 30 yards, and Kentucky had the momentum.
Every Kentucky-Tennessee game was wild. We'd be 8-3 or better, and they'd be 3-8 or worse, and we'd fight to the end to win, and we
talk about wild.
But that was a great play by Carl Johnson, who I think ran Tennessee for several years in Nashville. But they accused him of trying to run out the clock on this particular play. And there's Ken Lambert, who could have run twice down the field in that time. But Carl Johnson was a huge play for Tennessee.
What a turnaround as Tennessee wins the game 21-7. We'll take a look at 1972 in just a moment.
That was great.
It's time to announce the Phillips Retro Player of the Game. Let's make things better with Phillips Consumer Electronics. Making things better for the Big Orange was Condridge Holloway. In addition, Phillips has made a $500 donation to the Volunteer Athletic Scholarship Fund. Phillips and Condridge Holloway, always making things better.
He was a high school wheel down in Huntsville, Alabama. And every coach in the country was fighting to nail him down. But when the battle was over, his mama said the trail is clear. Son, go with the winner, be a Tennessee volunteer. So go Holloway, go volunteer. The Big Orange takes the field, and everyone cheers. John Ward on the radio, play-by-play. Bobby Denton on the big PA, shouting, ooh, give 'em 6. There goes Holloway. but he won't stop. He'll go down the middle, around or over the top. So go Holloway, go Volunteers. The big one takes the field, and everyone cheers. John Ward on the radio, play-by-play. Bobby Denton on the big PA, shouting, "Hoo-wee, give 'em six, there goes Holloway." He's shouting, "Hoo-wee, give 'em six, there went Holloway."
Who else, Coach Battle, would come on to this program with a 2-minute musical introduction? Condridge, welcome.
That's star power.
Thank you.
Star power.
Glad to be here.
We're talking about retro, and all of us fit that, whatever that means. If it's has been, I guess that fits in too. Anyway, do you remember the first time you saw and the first time you wore the retro jerseys?
I don't remember the first time I wore them, but I just remember the jersey. And back then, what we wore was not a big part of our agenda. It was we wore what we were told to wear, and we didn't have a say-so, and we were just more interested in trying to execute. We didn't. It was a dictatorship back then, and I think that's the way it should be.
Let's see how Condridge Holloway and the Volunteers perform in 1972, starting with the game that was played at Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia, against the Bulldogs. And there you'll see the Volunteers in those orange and white, I guess white and orange jerseys. And the quarterback here is number 7, Condridge Holloway. The pitch goes, and turning the corner was Haskell Stanback.
Yeah, Haskell had a great day that day. I mean, that was one of the easier games as a quarterback I've ever had because we ran the ball so well, we didn't really have to throw it. Throwing it was a surprise, and people were always open because we ran it so much.
This time the pass is complete, and that's Bill Rudder who carries for 11 yards. Tennessee and Georgia 0-0. Holloway now looking to throw. And the pass is complete this time, and that again is Bill Rudder.
Yeah, Rudder's one of the toughest backs that's ever been at Tennessee, I guess. He was a great player, and not only was a good runner, a great blocker, and great pass receiver.
Tennessee leads 7-0. We move into the second quarter, where the touchdown, of course, came on the first play. This will be Holloway faking, and the pitch goes to Carruthers.
Paul is... he was one of the guys that we always kidded about his speed. Of course, we thought he was going to take it all the way here, and when he got caught, it was a locker room chuckle because he was always a guy to tell you how fast he was. And, of course, after this game, it didn't go so far.
Tennessee 7-0. Holloway at quarterback, and this time comes to the near side looking to throw, and the pass is complete. Sonny Leach.
Sonny Leach is head of Zuzu Worldwide Truck Sales. Great success story, and had a chance to spend some time with he and some of the players back a few months ago, and had a great time together.
Now here is Andy Johnson for Georgia, throwing downfield, and it is intercepted. Conrad Graham. A second look.
Yeah, Conrad Graham really was an All-American at Tennessee, and just made many big plays for us, and this was certainly one of them.
As Tennessee goes on to win the game at Georgia by a score of 14-0, we move along to the final game of the season, played at Dudley Field, fair and 60 degrees as the Volunteers come to Nashville. And we pick up the action in the first quarter after the captains meet in the center of the field, toss of the coin, and this will be Vanderbilt leading by a score of 3-0. That's Berger, the quarterback, knocked down by Carl Johnson. Berger again, handoff. Keeps the ball and is hit and fumbles, and it will be recovered by Tennessee's Claude Simonton. So the Volunteers, trailing 3-0, take over. We move to the second quarter. Ball on the 10-yard line of Vanderbilt. And the give this time is the pitch, I should say.
This Haskell Stanback. Haskell had a pretty good day that day, and Haskell always played well against Vanderbilt. Of course, he's I think, still one of the best running backs ever here at Tennessee.
No
a
question.
Big, strong guy, durable, and still good buddies with me today, so I am a little bit prejudiced about that.
No problem about that, as the pass is complete this time to Dennis Chadwick.
Dennis was a quarterback
at
one time, and Dennis was a guy that was just willing to do whatever he could to help the team, and got out of wide receiver and really helped us.
There's the pitch again to Standback, having another good day, and he takes this one in, and the Volunteers lead by a score of 30-10.
Haskell had good days every day he went out. He was a great player for us. And Alan Chadwick, his brother Dennis, played for Tennessee as well, and his other brother, Alan, went to Georgia and is a great high school football coach there in Atlanta.
So Tennessee wins over Vanderbilt, and we've got 1973 to come up, and we'll be looking there in just a moment. As Tennessee gets set to open the 2004 season against UNLV, retro, we're looking back to 1973 with Coach Bill Battle and Condridge Holloway as the Volunteers play at Commonwealth Stadium in Kentucky. And here again, Haskell Standback.
Haskell he's got to be on every highlight. If we won it, Haskell had something to do with it.
A second look at the touchdown run, but the extra point is missed. A muddy field. And so Tennessee leads by a score of 6-0. Second quarter, Kentucky, Kotar.
We talked about playing on brown turf, and it was brown that day. They just painted it green.
Yes.
But there's a big fumble recovery, and the Tennessee-Kentucky games, every one that I played in or coached in was a war.
A barefooted field goal kicker, Ricky Townsend.
And his feet were cold, I can tell you that day. It was a cold day and wet and rainy and muddy, but that was a great kick for us.
9-0 Tennessee leading. And this will be Condridge Holloway back to throw. Condridge.
I think this the Bill Rudder? No, this was Stanley. And once again, look, how about that catch? I mean, those are highlights in the 70s that would really be an ESPN moment now.
I call it a perfect pass.
I call it a great catch. He saved me a lot of times.
Tennessee leading 9-0. And this will be an outstanding running back for the Cats, Collins, but this time he fumbles, and for the second time, it's the recoveries made by Nick Carmichael.
Nick Carmichael's a name from the past. Didn't see him last night, but sure like to catch up with him.
So Tennessee leading 9-0, and things going pretty much Tennessee's way, as this time breaking it is Bill Rudder.
There's the Bill Rudder run.
That's exactly right. There was a lot of those kinds of runs, and he could run through people, and what was really funny was when he was blocking on the speed option, and he just drilled the little cornerbacks back in those days and knocked them right in the dirt.
16-0 Tennessee leads, but Kentucky comes back, and the score is 16-14. This the field goal on the final play for the win. And this will be Steele, the kick. It's in the right direction, but it is no good.
It's no good, and I tell you, I was scrambling to get my St. Christopher's medal back on. A lot of the guys knew that I wore a St. Christopher's medal. I lost it during the game. We found it right before this field goal, and they gave it back to me, and I said, no, I can't hold it. I've got to have it on my body. They taped it to my chest, and 10 seconds later, he missed the field goal. Now, I'm not superstitious, but it worked.
Now we know. It's been great to visit, and I'm sure it has been for you, with Bill Battle and Condridge Holloway. As Tennessee fans enjoy a retro day, they can remember great moments they'll never forget, because of these two great volunteer players. Well, we'll move to a new century. Bob Kessling is standing by to take you through 2004. We'll see you in just 1 minute.
Welcome back to the Philip Fulmer Show and this reunions weekend. You know, the players tonight will be wearing those 71, 72, 73 road jerseys. We had a chance to catch up with Athletics Director Mike Hamilton to find out why.
Well, we haven't had a lot of variation in our jerseys through the years, but certainly the early 70s, those jerseys that were worn, they really stood out. And so we decided to choose those to represent our past in this regard this weekend. And we've had a lot of fun with that, and I've had a lot of positive comments from our fans and our current student athletes, and so it's kind of a neat thing, doing it one time, but it's a different look for sure.
The purpose of that was to get as much orange on away game jerseys as possible, because Tennessee had not been successful playing on the road wearing white jerseys. So Coach Battle's theory was, let's get some orange on those jerseys.
Stan Trott here with us, class of 70, 71, 72, and we have to ask you, you made that touchdown catch against Florida with the retro jerseys on, Is that going to have special meaning for you tonight when the players wear them?
Very much so. I mean, that's one of the reasons I came back. It's a special weekend, and I can remember, quite frankly, that was the first time we wore the white jerseys.
They were different. They were, something a little bit before their time. None of the other teams had them, so we were kind of proud to wear them.
Talk a little bit about the closeness and the relationships you had with those particular teams when you played.
Well, I think we those teams, we went through a lot of adversity, and we had a lot of good teams, a lot of good talent, but I think we got the most out of our talent. We just seemed like we refused to be beat.
Eddie, talk about the good defenses you played on back in the 70s.
Well, I was very fortunate. We had some great defenses. You had guys like Jackie Walker and Bobby Majors and Conrad Graham. We set all kind of records for touchdowns on defense, and it was just unbelievable.
Haskell, you and Condrich kind of put the option on the map for Tennessee. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, Coach Condrich was a tremendous, veer option type quarterback. Had a good read on the end, could get the ball so it can turn the corner, and I was fortunate enough to have just a little bit of speed to get outside and get upfield.
What is it like to get back and see some of your old teammates? I mean, does that bond just pick up right away?
It really does, and even though we look a little older now, we still have those competitive juices flowing, and it's good to see everybody.
Oh, this is great. This is what we live for. Once you start getting up in age, is you get a chance to come back and see some of the guys and talk about some of the old days. It's always good to get back and just to have that little camaraderie.
Tennessee will make their 9th appearance tonight with the retro jerseys, looking for win number 6. Coming up on the Philip Fulmer Show after the break, we'll go back to Bob, Tim, and Jeff.
We'll just have to wait until Tuesday to find out whether USC, UCLA, or Tennessee will be rated number 1 in the nation next week. I want to thank very much our spotters today, Julian Andes and Russ Bibb, our coordinator producer.
Well, this is John Ward with Bill Anderson, our statistician Russ Bibb, spotting Tom Manning.
Where were we, John? I've got lost talking to Bibb here. I wasn't paying a bit of attention to you. Well,
Bob Kessling, Tim Priest, Jeff Francis back at Athens. We're with our statistician Russ Bibb. Brent Hubbs be along at halftime.
As you just heard, one can play a tape from any Vol Network broadcast from the past 4 decades and always hear one name on the job, the name Russ Bibb, the incomparable statistician and unquestioned historian of Tennessee football. It is with a heavy heart that we report Russ's passing this week. The University of Tennessee and the Vol Network extend our heartfelt condolences to Mr. Bibb's family and all of those who are feeling the void of his loss. To say Russ was special would be like saying Neyland Stadium is big. It would be a huge understatement. Russ Bibb was a walking, talking tribute to Big Orange football and the Vol Network. Tonight we pay our respects to this man by playing an excerpt from an interview he did with John Ward back in 1994 on the Vol Network, shortly after publishing his second book on Tennessee football.
Randy, I have a guest here with us who's not really a guest. Here's a microphone, Russ. Russ Bibb, who has been spotting, actually kept statistics for us for how many?
23 maybe?
At
22.
Least. But before that, you've been a member of the Vol Network staff how long?
Since 1957 or 58, I think it was.
How long is that, Bill? Can you subtract?
Too long, too long.
All right, Russ Bibb has just completed a new book called Vols, and it's available at leading bookstores everywhere, I assume.
Everywhere across the state. Bill, I just happen to have an autographed copy for you right here. I'm autographing to my friend Bill Anderson, my neighbor, and I've got neighbor in quotes, meaning we sat next to each other, for a quarter of a century. Best wishes, Russ Bibb.
Thank you very much, Russ. I was just kidding, but I appreciate that.
We have one for John Ward.
And Russ has mentioned the fact that he's a neighbor is that for a quarter of a century, Russ sits between me and Bill Anderson. And now this one, read that, Russ.
Well, now this one is to my friend John Ward, the voice of the Vols, the consummate announcer. In grateful appreciation of our network association of more than a quarter of a century, I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, I have too, Russ. It's meant a great deal to me, and I hope the book sells 1 million copies, and that you make all the money you can spend.
I'm not sure that's possible.
Well, your wife at least.
Well, they accuse me of spending money before I earn it. They always have.
Russ Bibb, get the book. You'll enjoy it.
To further borrow from our friend John Ward, he once said of Russ Bebb that no one knew Tennessee football better inside or outside. Outside, for more than 38 years as a reporter and executive sports editor for the Knoxville Journal, he was an objective journalist reporting and editorializing on the events and people who have made UT athletics the biggest single activity in the state. Inside, for more than 4 decades as the statistician for Vol Network Broadcast, never has there been an individual who chronicled so many volunteer games in such amazing detail. Charting every single yard with intense concentration and surgeon-like skill, he gained an inside perspective that will forever be unique. Above all, Russ Bebb has been a close friend who understands that the foundation of Tennessee football yesterday, today, and tomorrow is the Big Orange fan. Just like Russ, that fan is totally unique. Russ Bebb. We will never see his kind again. Let's go back to the man who literally grew up watching and working with Russ Bebb as a spotter. He's now our lead announcer, Bob Kessling.
John, thanks. It is tough coming in the booth today and not seeing Russ set up and ready to go. And he was the best stat man in the country, no doubt about it, and took such pride in it. And we're all going to miss him. It's going to be very tough getting through the game tonight. Tim, I remember Jeff and you and I, we had dinner with Russ before the Vanderbilt game. And it was amazing just sitting there telling all the old stories about the great players. And it didn't matter what game you brought up, Russ knew something about it.
Oh, he really did. I first met Russ in the fall of 1966 when they had an all-state team banquet in Knoxville. The Knoxville Journal sponsored it, and he and Ed Harris put it together. And we all thought we were all-state football players, but really we were just the players Tennessee wanted to recruit. And Coach Dickey gave him the names, and they made us all-state. And so Russ helped me come to Tennessee long ago.
And he was so a part of the Tennessee football all those years. Jeff, Russ covered you when you were playing at Tennessee.
It's funny. I remember him more when I was playing as a writer for the Journal. And I'm not. It seemed like about a month ago, somehow we were reshuffling things, and I saw some old press clippings. And Russ used to do the Monday morning grades. And obviously, I got a good grade because I saved that one. But to see his picture there is really good. We'll miss him here, definitely with the Vol. I really enjoyed the Friday night dinners that we had.
They were always a lot of fun. Haywood Harris, longtime sports information director, assistant athletic director at the university, probably Russ's best friend down through the years. Haywood, we talked about him being a statistician here. He was one of the best newspaper men we've ever had in the state of Tennessee, too.
He was that, too, as you say, Bob. Russ got a lot of honors during his career. For instance, he was an honorary letterman, which shows that the University of Tennessee people knew that even though Russ was very objective in his reporting, he loved the University of Tennessee down deep. That was probably the greatest honor he ever had, that and being in the Knoxville Hall of Fame. But what really gave Russ the most pride of anything, I think, was day after day as executive sports editor of the Journal, knowing at the end of the day he'd done everything he could to have a great sports page. And during the years he was executive sports editor of the Journal, they had outstanding pages, and it was a tremendous sports section, owing largely, or mainly perhaps, to Russ's diligence on the job, his insistence that everybody do their job correctly, and his own writing ability. He had some great writing in his career that people probably tend to overlook because they've heard so much lately about being on the Vol Network. But he was an outstanding writer whose piece I enjoyed most was every year his letter to Santa, asking for Santa to bless some people that needed blessing, but please, Santa, take back Howard Cosell.
Hey, you had dinner with Russ every Thursday night, didn't you?
My wife and I had dinner with him and his wife, LaWanda, every Thursday night for the last 20-some years, and it was always a great treat just to be out with Russ. We argued a lot, but I guess it was good-natured. It was sort of a joking type argument we'd have, at least I labeled it such. I'm not sure Russ didn't bear a grudge occasionally.
He was one of the most precise people I ever met. I mean, if the fact was wrong or incorrect slightly, it drove him crazy.
Oh, it absolutely drive him batty. He couldn't stand to see the errors that appear in newspaper or on TV or on the radio. If somebody used a he when he should have used a him or a I when he should have used a me, it really tore Russ up. And he didn't mind calling it their attention. And they needed having it called their attention.
Oh, yeah.
But LaWanda and Kim and Rusty and Chris and the 6 grandkids meant more to him probably than any of these other things we're talking about. He loved them all deeply. And one good thing about Russ's departure from this earth is that he got to more or less do it the way he would want to. He worked with you all on Saturday afternoon, enjoying the crew here at the Vol Network. And then on Sunday, he got a chance to go out and play golf. And the last 2.5 days, he had LaWanda and the kids all looking after him and taking care of him as they always did all those years.
Yeah. You know, one thing, Haywood, I remember out Russ, every time the official stats would come at the end of the game, he would be within a yard of the official stats, and he'd always say the official stats were wrong.
Well, no doubt he felt that way. And I'm sure he told Bill Petty, who was the true statistician, what he thought of that 1 yard error.
We all miss Russ terribly, and Haywood, I know you do as well. You're probably his best friend. We really appreciate you coming by the booth and sharing some stories.
Well, thanks a lot. He had an awful lot of friends. I was happy to be one of them.
Yes. Haywood Harris, and again, a loss today is Russ Bebb not with us in the booth today, John.